Uttar Pradesh, brought up in early years in Agra. Then my main education from 10th till MSc chemistry has been in Kota, Rajasthan. And from there, in the same year, 2000, I went for my PhD in chemistry to IIT Roorkee. In 2005, I completed my PhD, and in 2003, I got married. And after PhD, I came to Delhi. And since 2005, I have been working. And professionally, I would say that I have worked in the best of the institutions, being trained in IIT, then worked for a few years in Delhi University colleges as ad hoc lecturer, then worked as scientist in CSIR National Physical Laboratory in New Delhi. Then I was associate professor in NMCG Institute of Nanotechnology, so NMCG University, a great university in the private sector. And then I joined TERI, another great institution. So therefore I can say that after working in the best of the institutions, I have got a chance to contribute in another great institution, which is a think tank of the country and very well known in the international arena. So that was a brief about my professional journey. And as a personally, I would say my early years have gone probably more into academics. And also as a child, my mother has been a great influence in my personal life. She was herself a teacher, and she ensured since childhood that we are not just stick to our studies. She ensured that we all are, we have three sisters, one brother, and we all are into extracurricular activities as well. So myself, I have since childhood, I have been actively involved in debates, dramatics, dance, music, and particularly talking about sports. I have been a sports person, and since class 4, I have been very regular in sports, going regularly to the stadium. And when I was in class 6, 11 years old, I was selected in the, I got a chance to represent Uttar Pradesh in the national games in basketball. And I was part of the Indian team, selected in the juniors. And I continued to play. And until 12th, in fact, paralleling also, our mother ensured that as a girl, whatever we achieve in life, whatever we become, we should be knowing all the household. We should be proficient enough in cooking, stitching, embroidery, knitting. So she ensured all of us to be well versed in all these affairs. So since childhood, I have been trained that way, that whatever you be, in whatever position professionally, but you have to take care of your family, you have to be an all-rounder, take care of the relatives, relations, all together. So you have to be a complete package. This was the childhood lesson which I'm carrying till date with me. So that is about my childhood. And as parents, I had a very humble background, and my mother worked very hard, my father and mother, and I used to help my mother a lot in her living. She used to run catering services, so I've helped that way. Always there is something in my mind that I have to help my family in whatever ways. So many a times I have I have taught. In fact, I'm a natural teaching has come to me probably because of her. So since class 5, when I was in class 5, I have been taking tuitions. So as each year passed, I started teaching that class. So since class 5 till MSc final year, I have taught a large number of students. I used to take tuitions. I used to help my family in that way. And having those tuitions, I in fact, sometimes when I needed, I used to take my tuitions that way. So it was a great learning. In fact, every child should have that kind of skills This also helps you in understanding the value for money, the value for the opportunity, and of course the responsibility. So that it all these initial struggles, so to say, helped me to take things very seriously. Any small or any big opportunity coming to my way, I've already taken it very seriously, and I have done my best in anything which comes to me. I try my best to do. So that is about this. Also, a very interesting thing which has led me to what have I have been able to do at the moment is that until my graduation, in the BSc first year itself, when many of the students they don't know what they will be doing after graduation, two teachers have influenced me a lot. I would like to really mention them, Professor Dr. Ashurani and Dr. Uma Shringi. Both were my teachers, and Dr. Uma Shringi was someone who taught me during BSc in government college, and then Dr. Ashurani is someone who taught me in my MSc chemistry days in government college. So in my BSc first year, I was very clear that I want to be someone like Dr. Uma Shringi, a lecturer par excellence, and that was just my dream. So now what to do? What is needed to become like her? So I was told you have to do BSc, you have to do MSc and PhD. And being a student of first year, you don't know what is P of a PhD by that time. So, okay, fine, I took it and I did BSc, MSc, and then PhD. And during my PhD days, I was very much obviously focused on studies. But since 12th, until class 12th, I was more into sports, all these activities. But when I reached to college, I gave up sports entirely because by that time I realized it was 1990, 91 when we went to Kota. And by that time, I realized that career cannot be made in sports. That time. Today, the scene is entirely different. But I realized it very early that if I have to make a career, then probably it's the academics where I have to make my career. And also BSc, MSc are the simple streams where not a lot of money is involved. Otherwise, when you go for MBA or anything, you require that kind of investment, which our family obviously could not afford that time. So I was very simple in my approach. And apart from academics, I was more into elocution, debates, article writing, essay writing for the magazines. So I was very active in my college days. And in fact, I won the College Cup for the Best Debater of the Year when I was in BSc second year. And also MSc previous, I also got another chance, a national level participation in the national debate competition held by the ISKCON Society. So I represented Rajasthan in the elocution national level debate competition. So that way I had privilege to have two national level achievements during that time. And then after MSc, I was very clear until MSc that I don't want to do B.Ed or MPhil. I wanted to do PhD. So that clarity of what I wanted to do, why I want to do, has always been there in my mind since childhood. So therefore, I was very focused in my career since beginning, BSc first year. So therefore, BSc, MSc final, I gave up all my tuitions and all because I had to focus on the entrance exams for the PhD. And citing, I don't think those small incidents need to be cited, but I got a chance. I applied for a PhD program. In that time, it was University of Roorkee. And in a long, big page employment news, there was a small ad about applications for PhD program. I discussed with my fellow students let us apply for this PhD. Everybody said, how would we get a chance? It's University of Roorkee. We are in government college quota. Who is going to call? We can never qualify. But fine, I applied. And this is a very interesting incident, probably if I need to quote. But I applied, and after 2-3 months, what happened that I didn't get any call. And I just went to my sisters in Haridwar to meet them after the NET exam in the center in Delhi. And I reached Roorkee by chance. And I reached the department and I spoke to the head of the department. So that kind of ability I had since childhood, since I have been moving from class 4. When I was in class 4, I have been participating in sports, participating in training programs. So I've been that outward, very confident little girl moving outside and taking care of herself. So I went to Roorkee in 2000. In April, I applied. Probably in July I went. And I went straight to the head of the department and I asked her, I applied for this PhD program in April. I didn't receive any interview call, whereas I am expecting a call. So he checked the roles, everything. He said, see, you are on this number on the merit, and call has been sent to you through courier. And the interview which you are talking about is scheduled day after tomorrow. So I said, but sir, I didn't receive any letter. Okay, then he said, do you have your mark sheets with you so that you can appear? And matter of chance, I have another very important thing I have always, it has been a blessing to me. I have been always well prepared, even if things are not required. Something you can say. So I was carrying my mark sheets also with me. Although I just come for the NET exam in Delhi and then I thought to travel to Haridwar. But just because of having my mark sheets with me, head of the department allowed me to appear in the interview, which was just the day after that day. So I can't say more than that it was a blessing or the destiny's call which took me there, despite we might have missed on the courier because by that time we have shifted back to Kota, Agra. So this was the reason. So just see, destiny only calls. Together, this is a lesson which I have learned. First of all, you should be well prepared. You should be well qualified or eligible. You should be doing all your efforts. And then comes the role of destiny. This is the biggest lesson in my life I've learned from this incident. And I appeared in the interview. There were just 2 posts. And as an outcome, when the result came, that was also a very interesting thing. When the result came, I was told that you are selected. And it was probably 18th of July. And 22nd July was the last date to file to submit the fees and seek admission in PhD. And only 2 candidates were selected. One was an internal candidate. I was the only external candidate. And it was 18th July and 22nd July was the last date to submit the fees. And the most important part, they required mark sheet of the MSc final year. And being in small towns like Kota or Ajmer or these, we don't even receive our results until August, September. So now what to do? And if I got a chance, so everybody in my family convinced my father that, see, your daughter has got a chance to go to University of Roorkee. So you should allow her, you should help her. So he agreed that way. But the point was where to get the mark sheet. So I convinced my father and I found out legal routes also. I consulted my role models. Dr. Ashurani guided me that in such a situation, if you write to the registrar of the university and if the results are, if the copies are checked, then registrar can write the result to the next registrar. And internally, if you are qualified, they don't disclose the result to you, but you are admitted. So this is a legal route she told me. Now the chance was to reach out to Ajmer. So I convinced my father, and my father said, "You don't have any call letter with you. You don't have any call letter for the interview. Neither you have a call letter from the admission. You just got a phone call. And you are asking me to go to Ajmer University because it was Maharishi Dayanand Saraswati University, Ajmer. Kota did not have university that time. But still, I convinced my father, let us try once. So I'm always a person who have always try. Let's try. Let's try is my mantra. So me and my father went to Ajmer University, and that was 20th July. And we went there, and it was heavily raining, flood-like situation. And more worrisome, when we reached the university, it was strike there, student strike. Completely university was closed. Still, I went to the registrar's office, and obviously, like any other father, I don't know what she is doing, what you want to do. He was all like, I was okay, let me try, just try, let me try once. So we went to the registrar's office, and I told him about the whole story, sir. Such and such opportunity which has come to me this way. I don't want to lose it just because the result is not out. So I have come to know about such and such policy, and if you can help me. Okay, so he said, yes, you are right, there is such and such policy. You go, we'll send the result. I said, sir, it is 20th July today, 22nd day after tomorrow is the last day. And therefore, so what do you want from me? I said, if you can give me the result. He was like, are you like crazy? I said, sir, okay. He said, okay, I can give you the result also. I can seal it and give you. But what proof do I have that you need it for this purpose? You show me your interview call, you show me your admission letter. What proof do you have? You're asking such a big thing. And that was the time I really had nothing. I just said, sir, I have my words with me. If you can believe, this is the truth. Rest is my destiny. And I could not say anything after this. And somehow again, second time, luck favored me. And he said, okay, let me think. And he said, come after 2 hours. And we barely could spend 2 hours because the situation outside in the campus was very, very grim. Student agitation, heavy rains, all together was very bad. Somehow we managed 2 hours, and registrar called me after 2 hours. He said, see, this is your result in this envelope, which is sealed. If it is opened or disclosed, you will be disqualified from the degree. So what you have to do? I have spoken to the registrar in University of Roorkee. You go and submit this envelope to him. I said, okay, sir, I don't need to know what marks are there inside. You have given such a big thing to me, I can't tell you. And with that, I came back. Night, we came back. 21st July morning was our train. And we managed to take my entire stuff, books, clothes, everything. And 22nd was we reached Roorkee first. And it was such a situation, it was so heavy rains that we have to put bricks in the compartment was full of that kind of a situation. And you can't believe any parent would be in a situation like, what is happening to this girl? How is she doing? She's just taking me along. And so he was really, but since I was convinced, I was keeping him cool. And somehow we were also able to get the help. God was helping us. So we managed. I reached Roorkee at 3 p.m., 22nd July. Straight away went to the university, submitted my envelope to registrar over there. He verified whatever result. And he just came and said, you qualify for the PhD. And I got the admission. My God. So these two incidences actually are the milestones which changed my whole perception to life. It increased, enhanced my self-belief in me. and my family believed in me. And that is since 2000, then I began my journey as a research scholar. And again, from studying from government college and reaching to University of Roorkee in itself is something was great, big thing. So now was the requirement, and again, destiny had me third time. After 6 months of my joining, University of Roorkee became IIT Roorkee. That was the year when Uttarakhand was formed, 2000. And in February 2000, in 2001, I joined in July 2000, and February 2001, it became IIT Roorkee. So I was now required to have IIT fellowship. But coming from government college quota, I gave my exam and I realized that I need some little extra effort or studies to qualify NET exam. So I took special permission to undertake classes with the postgraduate students in IIT Roorkee to study those 2-3 topics. I identified that if I study these two areas, I'll be able to qualify because my fundamentals were very clear that way. And that helped me. In June, I qualified my NET exam and I got MHRD fellowship from the date of joining, last July. So this was something, again, every time with every such blessing, I always believe that if you do your work, if you are honest, if you do your efforts, then comes the destiny. So destiny has a role to play at the end when you have worked hard. And then I got the fellowship because until that time, my parents were sending money, but it has always been very difficult. But still, then that was the history, and I could proudly say today that I begged MHRD IIT Roorkee fellowship, and I worked very hard. So that was the third incident which has shaped my career. And then another very important incident I would like to share, which might help many of the researchers. That after 2.5 years of my PhD, it was July 2000, and in 2002 September, October, my supervisor said, "Okay, let me see what work you have done," because in IITs generally professors have so many students and they are more involved in a lot of duties. So somehow for 2 years, after 2 years, my work was seen. And one fine day, my guide declares that whatever work you have done is a complete failure. Because I was working on system called colloids. And at that time, nanotechnology was very new even for the IITs. I'm talking about 2000. So 2000 to 2002, the work which I did, we somehow decided that my guide decided that it's a complete failure. We cannot move ahead. You have two choices. Either you leave PhD and go back, or you get a new topic yourself. Again, life threw such a big challenge to me. What to do? I said, "Sir, I cannot go back." So that was one thing. Then what next? Get a new topic. I'm giving you next 3 days, you get a new topic. And you can't believe it was such a difficult phase when you realize that 6 registers are completed by that time and you have worked so hard and your work is declared, we cannot move. So 3 days, 2 nights, I cannot forget. I just turned on the pages of all the registers, one after the other. And then I found that I have done some extra work during my extra time. And that was the work which is in the area of suspensions. Colloids was a failure, but suspension was something which I worked out of my interest. I went to my supervisor, "Sir, I want to do this work in the area of photocatalysis." But sir said, again, you see, I haven't guided any PhD in this area. Ensure that it should not be a failure again. Otherwise, you have no time left to get another chance. I said, no, I convinced him scientifically with proof and all that, sir, we can do this. And it was in 2002, September, October, I started, new committee was formed and a new topic was decided. And I started work, and my guide gave me one mantra that whatever you start in the morning, you end up in the evening with that task. And I just took it. I used to be in my lab at 7 in the morning, used to work, start my GC instrument, and knew how to, half an hour, I used to come back, get ready. Again, I used to put the sample, come back, having my cycle in the hostel. And then I used to go back working full day. And another department, I used to carry my samples because on my bicycle, and because analysis was there in some other department. So that was the way I did. And I worked, and my first paper was published in the Journal of Applied Catalysis A, and it was 3+ impact factor that time. Today it's very high. And the first paper, when it came, the guide said, he was like, yes, you have done something, and it was great experience. And but the cost, to 2002, I went my home. I went to my home. By that time, my family had shifted to Pune. I went to my home in January 2005 at the time of the death of my mother. So for 2.5 years, I couldn't go, or I was so much engrossed in my work because I had no other choice than to work on a new topic after 2.5 years of loss of time. So time, my life has always given me that ups and downs, but the strength to cope. And 2005, January, my mother expired, and July I had to submit my thesis. So it was a very tough time. But the system which I developed on the suspensions, after failure of a colloidal system, I chose to work on this system. And the science which I developed during my PhD is the technology which I have developed now. So it has taken with my own PhD students now. So when I came back in 2005 after submission of thesis, since then it was in my mind that I have to apply, I have to use this technology somewhere. And many of my research, all my seniors from IIT, student goes for their postdocs either to US or Europe or Australia. But I wouldn't go because already I was married by 2003 November. So I was married during the advanced stage of my PhD. And 2000, already by that time, 2 years of my marriage was already, we were having a long distance, you can say, arrangement. My husband was doing part-time MBA and I was doing he was doing executive MBA and I was doing my PhD. So somehow, when I came back in 2005, I started teaching in Delhi University colleges. And for 2 years I taught, but somehow that undergraduate teaching never enthused me. I always wanted to do something to teach at the master's level or take research. So that kind for 2 years I worked. And but I was not very much satisfied with the job. So I wrote DST Young Scientist Project, and I submitted to DST, and I got it sanctioned. So that was DST Young Scientist. So that was again a second milestone in my career. And then I thought I have to execute this project. And at the time when I got something, destiny had some other plans always. So that time my daughter was born premature. And we were there in hospital for 6 weeks. So it was a very tough time for me. She was just 1100-gram baby. And by that time, this project was there. So I had to write to DST, and I just gave up everything. I took care of my child. That's for 6-7 months, I really did not see anything outside. So to have responsibility of a small baby, raising her from 1100 grams to making her to a normal weight in 6-7 months as a mother, so this is another lesson I learned, that life as it moves, with every change in gear, you have to adjust yourself. So life is also like this. So I just gave up everything. 6-7 months, I didn't do anything. I just took care of my daughter, and by the God's grace, she was all right in 6-7 months. Then I went to DST, I got my project, and by that time I realized that in undergraduate teaching I cannot do. So I went to CSIR National Physical Laboratory with that project. And then began my second phase of postdoctorate research in CSIR National Physical Laboratory. And there it is such a great place to work. You have so many techniques, so many great scientists. What an institution to work in. So I went with a very small idea, but I realized I could do much more than what I projected in my project. And I'm really grateful again to the God and to the scientists there that I could do much, much more work than what was I proposed in the project. And I came up with great publications, 9-10 publications, 3-4 book chapters by that time. Also, I got a chance to guide MTech thesis independently. And our publications, they are highly cited. Right now, if I see my independent publications, they have crossed 120 citations and more. So that was the time when I could develop myself as a material scientist. And also we took a small cottage or the hostel facility in NPL so that I could work and manage well with small kid. By that time I just had one daughter. And I worked day and night there also. And again, I could deliver so much. And one of the publication I would like to mention, our work was published in Materials Today, which has the impact factor 31 plus. In fact, if I'm not wrong, it is 34 plus as on date, Materials Today. And our work was cited as discovery in this week's top articles. This year's top 5 material science news of the year in 2012. It came later, but I worked until March 2011 in CSIR National Physical Laboratory. And by that time in 2010, September, I was blessed with a son as well. So again, I had responsibility, family responsibilities I've always taken along. I've never neglected any responsibility. And with 2 children, again, life gave me another jerk in the sense, my family asked me to take up pause, you give up your research, you take care of the children and get back into teaching. Okay, I said, fine. So I again went back to Delhi University, but here again, I was given ad hoc position, and then to the college was in Narela, Alipur. So I used to manage my family, 2 kids, go to Narela. I taught for 2 years. But again, after doing such advanced research, working in such, so I have no problem with teaching in Delhi University. But personally, I was more inclined to technology or some application or some advanced research. So again, and the ad hoc system is is very erratic, unstable, that you are out after every 4 months and you are given 1 day leave and then 4 months later, which means in 2013, there was a time when all the ad hoc lecturers in chemistry were out because of the 4-year program which was introduced. And it was that time when I took a call. I said, no, this can't be taken ahead, because having so much uncertainty in career and having no godfather, no supervisor in Delhi University, I can never get a permanent position. So I always relied upon myself, what I can do. So it was a time I convinced my family, myself first, then my family, that I want to go to a university where I can guide MTech, PhD, and I have that kind of inclination. So after obvious initial reservations, once you are convinced, you can convince the family and you can convince the world. This is again a lesson I learned. So I went to MIT University, and there I was there for 3.5 years, and I was associate professor. And in MIT, there is a good culture about patents, technologies. So there I got this technology bug came to me, and that was one thing. And parallelly in the country, by 2014, this new government was established. And as we all are highly motivated by our Prime Minister, he launched the Namami Gange program. And from my journey, you can understand that I have always wanted to do something exciting, something for the country, or something great, big. But I never thought, as a teacher, I can do in this whole national mission. So what happened one day, there was a Hindustan Times series for a week. And every day they came up with one article on one polluted river. Like any of us read a newspaper in the morning, we forget after some time. The second day, again another river, and again reading. But 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days passed, but 5th day I couldn't sit on my chair. I was so much moved that I have to do something about this pollution. But I had no clue what to do. So I just got up and I stood on my main gate of my house. I still remember those days. For 1 hour I stood. I didn't sit intentionally because I don't want to forget. I took a resolution that I want to contribute in this Namami Gange, but how to do, where to do, I had no clue. But that thought has come to my mind. And as it is said, when there is a will, there is a way. And believe me, my will was so strong that somewhere to my head came the idea, why don't you try your 2 research areas? You have done your PhD in photocatalysis. You have done your postdoctorate in nanotechnology. Can I utilize my prior to experience and work on solving this national or the societal problem or the national mission? But it was okay, fine. I was convinced with the science, but where to move? So then again began my new journey. So every time life has kept throwing one or the other challenges, and by God's grace, I have been able to face it. So now the next challenge was how to get into it. I had no clue on treating water, because what we do in research is working on pure molecules, degradation of aniline or xylidine. That's what I did in my PhD. In my postdoctorate, I developed such nanomaterials which were very functional in nature. So now, with some or the other contact, I got one chance, the first chance to go to Sonipat, one textile house. From there, I got 1 liter sample. And that was so precious, I can't tell you. I did experiments on 10 ml small beakers. And I found, and apart from that, in addition to this, I studied a lot. I attended training programs to groom myself in the area of water treatment technologies. What are the problems? What are the policies? What is this mission about? Because it's not just what you want to do. It's also about how you want to do. The approach should be right. It's not about emotions. It's about solving a problem, but with proper skills, with proper resources as well. So in 2000, that was 2015. And 2015, in 2014 itself, I wrote a project in DST, Water Mission. And in February, I got a call for the presentation, like any scientist does. And my project was not selected. And the reason given to me by the committee was that you lack focus, you lack innovation, and more work on this, because this is a very new idea which you are proposing. So they rejected my proposal. But I never took offense. I learned. My resolution became much more firm. And April 2015 began my journey actually. Then began my journey from April 2015, and I went to Sonipat. I got the sample. I worked a lot, read a lot, developed myself as a chemist, as a nanotechnologist to a water technologist. And in 2015, I found some experiments were successful. And when I went to patent office, they told me this is worth patenting. And 2015, I could file 3 patents. And in December 2015 was the first India International Science Festival launched by the Ministry of Science and Technology. And there were many forums, water, nanotechnology, but I didn't apply. Whatever work I have developed, I presented in the technology forum. And if you remember in 2015-16, there was a lot about Make in India, Make in India. So there was a forum, Design and Manufacturing Technologies for Make in India. I applied in that category and I presented my work, whatever POC, the proof of concept I have developed by that time, treating real textile effluent from Sonipat. I presented that work, and by that time, I had no support. I had no project funding with me. I developed a reactor, my own thoughts, how to treat with the help of my own electrician, carpenter, weekend, my own money. I designed a reactor and developed something, and I performed experiments on that. And then, though that work, from there we worked, and I presented these entire findings in the India International Science Fair. And as you know, in IIT Delhi, it was there, and it was such a tough competition, national competition. It's fine. And when the results were announced, huge gathering, thousands of people were there. Results were announced. And when the result was announced, my name was announced as the winner, first prize in the technologies for Make in India. And I couldn't believe, because before that, I didn't receive any poster award also. But getting such a big recognition from the Ministry of Science and Technology, along with a check of 11,000 rupees. And what a great experience, I can't tell you, receiving the award from none other than Dr. Harshvardhan, the Union Minister of Science and Technology. And that was the time, another turning point or the milestone in my career. And I came back, and by that time, I was not known much, but it was then, oh, who is she? Who is she? Then the founder president called me, and I was given merit promotion, and I was reimbursed all the money which I invested by that time. I have invested 50 to 60,000 rupees of my own in developing this. But organization, they reimbursed the entire amount, and I was given merit promotion. And again in 2016, I went back to DST Water Mission with the same proposal, but now with much advanced stage. And now when I was presenting it, again the committee, this is a very sorry state of affairs, but our committees are like that. So again they said, what is new in the proposal? You are asking us to give you 1.2 crore, in which 20 lakh industry is already committed. We were asking for 1 crore from the ministry. But I said, sir, last time you said I lack this. And I took it very positively and I worked a lot. And today I can proudly say that today I have a focus sector, textile. In the name of innovation, I have 3 patents. In the name of recognition, I have an award given by your ministry. And with that, I just moved out and I received an acceptance letter, sanction project, but of a very small amount. 1 crore was reduced to 32 lakhs from DST and 20 lakhs was reduced to 7 lakhs. So initially I was very much disturbed. How can I develop a technology from money less than 40 lakhs? But again, I had very good seniors. Always 1 or 2 seniors has always helped me. And my director guided me that take this challenge as an opportunity. Anybody could develop a technology in 1 crore or 1.5 crore. But it will be an opportunity for you to develop a low-cost technology in a budget less than 40 lakhs. So I always am an obedient person. I always obedient to my parents, my seniors, everybody. So I took his advice and I moved on. But also then I thought that being in a private university or teaching was hindering me because it takes a lot of time. I was having responsibilities from teaching from BTech first year to PhD. So I thought, this is my time. I begged the project, DST Water Mission project, and I should give up my teaching. And you can always take teaching at any stage of your life. I have been teaching anyways when I was a kid in class 5. So I gave up my teaching and I came to TERI. And TERI was my dream destination ever since 2005 when I came out from my PhD. And I came here and TERI welcomed me very warmly and supported me. And from day one, I am working in TERI as on daytime working. Within joining of TERI, within 15 days, I filed the new patent. 3 were there, different in MET. And in TERI, I filed my first patent on this technology in the first 15 days of joining. And in fact, my salary account was opened after 2 months. So that is the motivation I have with me, which never deviates, which helps me in keeping my focus intact. And I have been able to work very well and working day in and day out. I got a chance to guide research scholars. So I just had 3 research scholars and myself alone when I began my journey. And here we started with small experiments of 10 ml in test tubes, you can understand, because it was a new technology. And our Director General, she is the present Director General, and she was Senior Director that time. And my Director General, Dr. Ajay Mathur and Dr. Vibha Dhawan, they both helped me with some initial grant because DST funding was taking some time to come. So with the support of the system, we started working. And 2017, I joined in January. We started our work from June onwards. Then 17, 18, 19, we worked on the basic sciences. And by that time, DST money has also come. So we could develop a system on 10 liters. That project was to treat textile wastewater of 100 liters per day only. That was the objective. And when by 2019, I could work with many industries, companies by that time, and a few companies came to help me. So Perfect Group is a consultancy company who helped me, and my research scholars too with me. They were my right hand, left hand. They worked a lot with me. And I want to name them: Paramita Das, Nupur Bahadur, and Priyanka Kumari, my 3 students. And from there, we began again this was another stage of my journey, you can understand. And here we developed this technology, TRL, technology readiness level has 9 levels. So we started from, of course, 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5. And I got a chance to present this entire work in India Water Impact Summit, or the India Water Week, which is organized by the Ministry of Jal Shakti and the Namami Gange. So in September 2019, I got another chance in my career to present my entire work before a prestigious government forum, and it was this. And here again, I presented in the technology forum, and it was very well received. And immediately after 2 days, I was called by the office of the National Mission for Clean Ganga, Director General and the Executive Director. So I'm really thankful to both of them, Mr. Rajiv Ranjan Mishra, the then DG, and Mr. T.P. Mathuria, he is the Executive Director Technical. And after 2 days, I was called. And again, they were discussing how your science technology can contribute in national missions, the NMCG. So just imagine, I dreamt of something to contribute in Namami Gange in 2014. And my destiny, I could get a chance in 2015. 5 years, which again proved that if your will is strong, if your efforts are genuine and sincere, then again destiny helped me and got me to NMCG. And since 2019, I'm working very closely with the National Mission for Clean Ganga, and the DGs are guiding me, the technical team. They gave me a few sites. So they gave me a site in Kanpur textile cluster. And just imagine, by that time in 2020, my project, DST project, was completed. And not just textiles, we could develop more than 30 case studies in different sectors: textile, tannery, slaughterhouse, chemical, pharmaceutical industry, wastewater, municipal sewage, open drains, then your condensates. So during this time, while working, again, I kept on learning, enhancing my knowledge, presenting. So a journey which really began alone. I had to convince about this technology. Now I have so many people. So since 2019, then came the Corona, but again, Corona couldn't stop me. And in August 2020, just imagine, in the peak of the Corona, on 2nd June was the first lockdown was lifted. And I was there in my workplace. And 2nd June, we began the foundation laying stone ceremony of the plant which we proposed to have in Gwalpadi, Gurgaon campus, TERI. And the then Director General, Dr. Ajay Mathur, helped me a lot. My senior directors helped me a lot. And we could have a 10 KLD, 10,000 liters per day plant inaugurated in August 2020, the peak of the Corona. And since then, it is functional for 2.5 years. The technology which I am the inventor and developed, now it is treating the effluents, mixed effluent from the campus without any stream segregation. Otherwise, conventionally, you need stream segregation, even in sewage, also grey water, black water. But here it is treating the combined effluent coming from research labs, toilets, hostels, canteens. And just imagine, And within 4 to 5 hours, it is being treated, and the water is now being certified for various water use applications, for cooling tower, for irrigation use, then for green building compliance, various. And again, with all this work, NMCG also gave us a project to demonstrate the technology in Kanpur. We are working right now, and by March we will be showcasing in Kanpur. And also, we begged NMCG gave us the country's first Center of Excellence on Water Reuse, which I am heading in TERI. So this is the recognition. And very recently, with all this work, we applied to FICCI Water Awards. And TERI bagged the first prize in the innovation category. And we bagged FICCI Water Award 2022 for our innovation of this technology. And now I'm also working very closely with the Haryana government, local administration of Gurgaon, Faridabad, for treatments of open drains, treatments of landfill leachate, which is a real problem. So likewise, now government, in the governments, in the ministries, in the industrial sector, that voice has reached, the ripples are created. And I really now look forward to one support from the industry now, because so far government has helped me every time. Now I'm looking for big water treatment industries, EPC companies who can come forward and take this technology from TRL 8 to 9 and commercialize this technology and help us in further development and upscale. Because from now, I cannot move alone. We need engineering companies or partners to shape our scientific ideas into reality. So that's all from a long journey to the recent recognition yesterday, being nominated and selected among top 10 Indian water heroes. So it's a great pleasure and honor for me. So that's all from my side. Thank you. Since childhood, I was very clear that I had to go into academics, despite a lot of extracurricular activities and that helped me in shaping my personality a lot. And as I grew, people used to tell me that you fit more into the administrative capacities, you fit more into the MBAs or leading organizations. That kind of thing people used to tell me. But again, when I used to think that how simply I can take forward, because I'm one of the twin sisters. We were twins. So my twin sister, she's a fashion designer. She's working great, and so we are not identical twins. But she was married much earlier. When I was doing MSc chemistry, she was doing MA sociology. So she was married quite early. And that time I had a pact with my father that please let me do my PhD. And after halfway is crossed, whosoever you ask me, I'll marry, because I always believe my parents will choose a better groom or they will make a better alliance for me. So this kind of a pact we had. And so keeping very light on my parents, I thought, and as I told you, I was highly inspired by my teachers, whom I met during BSc and MSc. So therefore I never thought of going into MBA or going into this. I naturally got a path driven towards PhD. So that was something. I chose PhD to be a lecturer. And when I became a lecturer, then I realized, I have become, now what next? And by that time I had that technology bug and I was inspired by the national missions. And 2014 entirely changed my thought process, my life, my career. Everything changed after 2014. And since last, you would say, 8 years, I'm devoted to the cause of the nation. So therefore, my drive to do something for the country actually made me a scientist. Otherwise, as a teacher also one can contribute, but I got a chance to move ahead with new challenges and opportunities, and I think it is fine. Since childhood, I was very keen on doing a lot of work at a time. At the same time, studies, sports, debates, dramatics, dance, music. I am a trained Kathak dancer. I am a tabla player. All courtesy to my mother. She has ensured in every summers, you have to do one thing. So since childhood, if I can, as I have already told you, until my 10th boards, 11th, when I chose PCM, just in a short span of 16 years, our mother ensured that I should be knitting, cooking, stitching, and doing everything. So this is how, and tabla player, Kathak dancer, everything. So that was something. So I really enjoyed that childhood, because today I have so many things to remember. And unfortunately, today's children, they are more inclined towards their palm tops, I would say, the mobiles, or the distractions are so much that somehow I feel a little failure on our part, our generation, or particularly myself, that our children are not that much inclined to the outer world or the extracurriculars or this. But still, I have no problem so far as they do the best in whatever they choose. So I have given that kind of freedom to my children, that if my daughter is willing to take humanities, so no problem. She has a very good hand in literature. She also, when she was in class 5, she got international rank in the International English Olympiad, rank 3. So third, fifth, sixth, she has been great in the languages. Now she is giving her boards, 10 boards, and she is opting for humanities. So no problem. So far as she does well and satisfied, and maybe you never know. Every child has a destiny also. If I can reach here with the limited resources, I'm the first science postgraduate in my entire khandan on both sides. So my children from this background will certainly take much better flight, I hope, in the career. So it's entirely up to them. So many incidences I told you, they have time to time challenges came to me, but I could overcome them as opportunities. So every challenge has taught me one lesson and given me another opportunity or a challenge. Then from there, I just moved how life came to me. I did not choose to be, but I moved along as things came to me. I think the tough time which I faced, or I would say, more exposure, if I could have got more exposure during my early childhood or during my graduation, then I would have taken this entire platform, which I started at the age of 40. I might have started it or a decade ago, then I would have really been at a very different place. So this is something I think I could undo or redo. Success means more responsibility, more answerable I am now, and I have a big responsibility to deliver what expectations I have laid and what is expected from me. It is first thing is to balance between the work and family and everything. So these are two main things for me. And the lifestyle, of course, we all have to understand that healthy lifestyle is very essential. And when we are physically fit, mentally strong, then only we will be able to focus more and work efficiently. So for me, maintaining a good balanced diet, at least a few hours of walk is essential daily. And these are some few things which I always take care. See, I have a couple of messages for all the young girls, all the young women who generally we all go through the same stages, particularly being Indian. So instead of going into the stages, I have a couple of few things which I would like to share and which have helped me in moving ahead. First is that any girl, any lady, any woman, first she should have self-belief. We should be very clear what we want to do, why we want to do, and how we are going to do. Once we are convinced, then we can easily convince our family and then the rest of the world, whether it get convinced or not. But if you and your family is convinced, then you have won the half battle. This is the first lesson. Second lesson is that as women, as mothers, we should happily wake up in the morning, and we should say to ourselves that I have to be a happy working mother. Third thing, I always believed and want to convey that even a mother, even a wife, a mother, also has only one life to realize her dreams. So why to give up? Just because you have become mother, you have to give up anything? No. Why can't you take everything along? So this is very easy in saying, but fourth learning is you have to develop your capabilities and skills. And one example I would give you that when my children were small, like any other mother, we are always distracted. Bacha kya karna hoga, whether that nanny would be taking care. So I kept myself away from distractions, at least during the work I am doing. So I enhanced my focus. I improved my abilities so that today I'm sure that I'll get up after finishing this task in hand. So my focus, my concentration, my vision, everything is very clear. So we need to have these qualities, then only we'll be successful. Otherwise, we need only fifth learning. We need only one excuse to not do anything. One excuse is enough to not do anything, whereas one commitment, one effort is enough to take you to your path and achieve the target. Two people, of course. First is my father, and as I told you, we had a pact. So initially he was very reluctant because as any Indian father, he would like both twin daughters to get married together. But since I asked for some time, so after 4 years, I got married from my twin sister. But when I said, yeah, father, my halfway is complete, now you can go for the marriage alliance, as I promised. He said, no, not now. You have to first achieve your dream, then you now think of marriage. That was the biggest support I got at the time when I needed the most from my father. And then certainly my husband is a great support. Initially, when I began my journey as a scientist, so he was quite apprehensive. How is it possible? How can you treat this water with nano, all this, what you are doing? But when I brought samples at home, I convinced my family actually what I am doing. So then it was there, and today my husband says, even if you wish to stay at home and you want to leave at any point of time, if I get bogged up with anything, he is the person who says, no, you don't, you are unstoppable. And I won't let you sit down until you achieve your target or goals. So both, what else you need, your father and husband in an Indian setup. And of course, in the management, your director generals, your directors, all these people certainly. And my Inspiration are my in-laws. My father-in-law retired as senior professor from All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and my mother retired as a principal of Daulatram College. So I have a whole lot of inspiration in my family. So this is enough for anybody to move. I really want to see myself serving the country. Whatever I'm doing right now, I'm a scientist developing developed a technology. So I want in the near future to commercialize this technology and install at different places. And then I want to go at the other side of the table to implement it. So I look myself in future to be moving ahead to Niti Aayog or to the after that to the United Nations. Somewhere I really look that high.